Hello and welcome all. We are now at the, I guess you call it my May and June 2025 reading journal update setup, all of the above. And as you will probably see, the book cover reading stack that I have left over from previous spreads has gotten thicker because, crazy enough, I've had multiples. I even have like a document that I have. I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, y'all. This is Leona from Crafted by the Pound. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. This is my May and June 2025 reading journal update, setup and update, or update and setup, or just setup. I don't know. And yeah, so I've combined both my May setup and update and my June setup and update, and they are two different color palettes. I think May is purple and June is green, I want to say. I'm not sure. But I have a document that I go through, and they're by the month, and I collect my book covers off of Amazon, and I input them in the size that I need them, and I input them into this document. And then I will print out 2 to 3 copies of the amount of pages of these book covers, just so that for any given month I have the amount of book covers that I need. And so sometimes when it's all said and done, I have extra book covers left over, and I add them to my pile of decorative book covers that I'll add to some of these pages with some white space that I don't too much care for, that I just to give it like a little pizzazz, a little decoration. And that's why I said in the video of my restarting my 2025 reading journal that I didn't need to utilize sticker sheets, decorative sticker sheets, because I'm like, I have book covers. And if for every reason I don't have enough book covers, then maybe I'll think of doing something different. But for the time being, that is what I have. And the crazy thing is that at this point, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I think every month I try to do things differently. I try to add just a little bit, somewhat of a different pizzazz to it. And because I can add more pages to any given month, depending on how much I need to include, it works. It all works for me. And like I said in the previous video, my reading journal is now getting a little thick because we're now in July. I've included a myriad of additional pages. The stickers are adding some thickness to it all, and all of that. And I do use my, my X-Acto knife to make slits in the back of each column, so that when I have to peel the individual stickers, since I'm not using my sprocket right now, I don't have to work harder. Because I tell y'all, the amount of stuff that I cut in that first video that y'all saw of me restarting my 2025 reading journal, I think that was the most tedious thing at that time, because I'm like, gosh, Leona, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we working this hard? But yeah, I don't know. It's become fun. It's become like a thing that I do at the end of, or at the beginning of any given month, and just go ahead and update. And so the crazy thing is that for May, I was still in my old reading journal, but I hadn't completed it. So a lot of the books that I had already read, that I had already notated for May in my old reading journal, were sticky notes. And the remaining ones, I had to go and look on the computer and log into my Kindle Unlimited account to see what books I read. Because right now, because Kindle has done this thing where if you buy their books, you don't own them. So for any reason, if I decided I wanted to download these books and then put them on a different device, I could not, because they're no longer mine. Now, there was a deadline that I missed to where you're supposed to download all your books so that you could do that, like take them all off and then move them to another device, or maybe go to Kobo or something like that. I missed the deadline, so all those books that I have purchased are not mine. I have to stick with Kindle, or I will lose access to all of those books that I've purchased. And I think somewhat that's a slap in the face of readers, but also because I've never really complained about the moves of companies, because I'm like, okay, if that's what you choose to do, let me go ahead and change up how I move so that I can, be okay for me, because companies are going to do what they're going to do. And me as a consumer, I just have to be cognizant of their moves and do things the way I need to be okay. And because they have done this, I have refrained from purchasing books off of Kindle, because it doesn't make sense to do so if I do not own these books. Like, books I buy, physical books I own those. Why would I spend money on a digital library if I don't own them? So I've been working on building up my physical library again. And I'm actually being more selective than I ever have before, because at this point with the way technology is, you have the Libby app, you have Kindle Unlimited, you have Hoopla. So if I want to read manga, I have many avenues to do so. You also have Comixology Unlimited. So there's many places that you can read what you want to read and not have to purchase books individually. So until I know that this is a book that I want to read over and over again, I'm not purchasing it. Or if it's a book that has meaning to me, I'm not purchasing it. Because why would I do that when I can just continue to borrow it from the library? And I've done that. I've gone through many readathons with some of my favorite authors. Because let's say, for example, I'll say the Side Changeling series by Nalini Singh is over 20 something books, because now it's the Side Changeling Trinity. I don't have unless I do this sometimes, like thrift books or even the high price bookstore, I'll go and buy them secondhand if I see them. But I'm not like trying to get all of them at once. And if I want to read all of them at once, or if I'm on the go, I'll go ahead and download it from the library and read them. There's, I still have access to the book. I can still read the story. I'm not exempt from, being part of the cool kids that get to read these books. So there's many things that you can do as a consumer, as a reader, where you don't have to be beholden to the decisions of companies. And so that's what I've chosen to do. And so in saying all that, I have decided to utilize Kindle Unlimited more than any other resource on Kindle, because I'm not buying any more books. I would rather download them from Kindle Unlimited, because not unfortunately, but I read a lot more indie books than I do traditionally published books. And it's no secret that a lot of independent authors do not have the reach to be in your libraries. So Kindle Unlimited allows me to read their works like a library. I hate that it's only on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if Nook, which is Barnes & Noble's reading service, I don't know if they if these independent authors are on that site as well. I don't know. I would like to think so. And Apple Books, I would like to think so. But Apple Books doesn't have a subscription. So don't really have to worry about it. And crazy enough, Apple Books, while you cannot download their books, you can never get rid of those books. Like, crazy enough, I have purchased, there was a time when I just purchased random books on Apple Books. All I can do is hide them. I can't get rid of them. You cannot delete any of the media that you purchase through Apple. And while I love that, it's very irritating at the same time. But I do love that when in the age of where things are at the discretion of the company. Because I think when Sinners came out, which came out in 2025, early this year, sorry. When Sinners came out, everybody was scrambling to figure out what platform that had the best wordage of letting you know that you own this movie. And I went with Apple TV, because I know, just like I said, if you buy anything on Apple, it is there forever. Unless Apple goes down and their servers implode, God forbid, it's going to be there until Kingdom Come. Amazon, at their own discretion, can remove anything they want. They can change the format. They can change the edition. They can change the version of a movie that you got, or a TV show that you bought, or a book that you read. They have, at their discretion, they can go behind the scenes and change things around. And then when you go to read it or consume it or watch it or listen to it, you're like, that wasn't in there before, or where's that part that I liked before, and it's gone. And Amazon can do that. Now, Apple, the version that you got is the version that you got. You're not getting any other version. They don't go back in and remove it. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know. But because I have been an Apple user, not so much with their devices, but just having an iTunes account since, oh Lord, since the 2000s, all my stuff is still there. And it has gone through ups and downs. So all my stuff is still there. So that was just me just giving that spiel about consumerism and reading. Maybe I'll add that in the title. I don't know. But that's where I'm at. And for the month of May, I didn't have many books read. And I noticed that between the span of May and now July, or May and June, not July, but June, May and June, I didn't read many books. And I don't know if that's like the shift of summer starting and I'm now, being outside a little bit more. I am doing a lot more things that are not reading-esque, or I don't have the time to sit and read as often, even though I have my Kindle on my desk with me all the time. I take it everywhere I go. I'm not pulling it out as often, so therefore not enough books are being consumed as normal, because normally I can crank out 30 books a month. And that was not the case for May and June. I know June, I was surprised by how little books I read. But I think because some of the books I read were, I don't want to say they were big, because I don't think they were big. Because for me, it takes me a week to read a 500 to 1,000 page book. And me, that's not bad. But if it's a series, I could probably finish a series in a week. And that's just because I'm up all day reading it. Every moment, every amongst conversations, I'm reading up. Watching TV, I'm reading. In the bathroom, I'm reading. Cooking food, I'm reading. In the middle of the night, I'm reading. While I'm watching YouTube, I'm reading. In between commercials, I'm reading. So I could finish a series in a week. But I guess maybe I had a lot going on for May and June. I don't remember much. I know in June there was a lot of movies that came out. I know Sinners came out on streaming. I know I went to go see Jurassic World Rebirth. There was a lot of I went out, I just went outside instead of having things delivered to the house. I went outside because I am agoraphobic, so I don't leave the house often. And when I do leave, it's almost like a thing of celebration. So yeah, I am surprised by how much I got out in June. So that's probably why I didn't read as many books, as you'll see. But it's all good. It's all good in my hood. But yeah. This reading journal is very versatile. I love the fact that I have disc bound it. And I do have the recommendation of, if you do want to bind it, print it at 96% so that you can have space on the side to bind it. And I did include a folder in this reading journal so that I can add, if I have any extra pages, to just go ahead and just put those extra pages in that folder. I don't put my book covers there because it makes no sense to do so. And I went back to April because I was confused on if I added April's reads for the ABC Reading Challenge, but I found out that I did. I even included May's and didn't even know it. But that's why I have this reading journal, so that it's all in one go, so that I can see everything and not have to scramble around. Because I think the journal I had before 2024 was loose paper, very loose paper. So me having crafted this reading journal is going to create some uniformity for me. It's going to create some consistency. I don't have to worry about starting a new month with new designs and with a new look, so to speak. But yeah, thoroughly enjoy this reading journal. And at this point, I think for July, like I said, I think the theme is blue. I feel like I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But I go through the prompts that I have for the reading challenge is interesting because I wanted to make it a little, not spicy, but I just wanted to make it a little more challenging. So I give myself 4 different prompts for the additional parts of the monthly challenge. Like for May, it was the number 5, summer, and then I try to, if there's a holiday, I try to focus in on that. So it's veterans or military. And I think for veterans or military, like a character had to be a veteran or currently serving in the military, or it had to be like a military retelling or stuff like that. Like that's the type of vibe that I go for. And so I think it's always comical to me, like when it gets to those type of prompts, the things I remember about the books I read for that month, to include it, because I don't, like when it comes to the prompts, because the prompts weren't in my first journal, I don't know what books will fit. And so I think when I go and do the prompts, it's fun to see, oh my gosh, that book works, and you not even know it. But sometimes, again, I don't mind if I have to cancel it out because I didn't have a book to go with that month. But yeah, I do love my rating chart. I do, like I said in the last video, for July, I do have a 2-star. So maybe I'll have to revamp my 3 to 5 rating system. But I've always just thought that 3 to 5 was the sweet spot for me, because I never, like, if it feels like it's a 2-star, I never finish. But the book that I gave 2 stars to was actually part of a series, and I did want to complete the series. I just thought that book was not that good in the large scheme of things. And the book after it, I think, was 3 stars. So, and 2 stars isn't horrible. It's just it didn't feel like, I don't want to call it lazy writing, but it just didn't feel like it was on par with what I want to see from the books that I do read. And so, yeah, I might have to change it. That might be something that I will create a revamp to, like create the genre chart and just have the month part be empty, and then just change the rating system on the side. And that way I can just print that out going forward. If I do have a month where I have lower than 3 as a rating. I don't know. But that's just something I think of. And then I love the favorite reads page, because sometimes I'll have 4 favorites out of the month, and sometimes I'll have 2, or I won't have any at all. And so therefore I could just take the page out for that month spread, because I don't have any favorite reads. So the versatility and the versatility and customizable situation I have with this, it makes it that much more enjoyable, And I think for May, I read more new to me authors, or authors I don't read from that often, than I have in a while. And it felt good. Because I think for the first portion of the year, I was doing a lot of rereads. And yikes, I don't want to do all those types of rereads. I want to, I guess, focus more on new books, but sometimes I just need that comfort read, that new to me read, and I just didn't have that. I just feel like, I guess for the beginner portion of the year, I just needed that. I just needed those rereads. And for May, it was a lot more new books stories I haven't read before, and I think it was an exciting month, because other than the Honey Badger Chronicles by Shelley Lawrenson that I reread, I was reading new stuff. And I do love this border, or like this shadow that I create around these boxes. I think I continued that for June, and yeah, it adds more depth. It adds more like colorfulness to the spread. And then sometimes when I put these book covers in the box, I don't mind if I put them in crooked, because it kind of just adds like a doodle vibe to it all. And yeah. Oh, and then my monthly reading stats, like the end of the month reading stats. Okay, so I do have where I do the pages read and the number of rereads. And then for the favorite book of the month, oh my gosh, it can be a reread, but my favorite books of the month cannot be rereads. I hope that makes sense. So, and that's the reason why for May I only had 2 favorite reads, because some of the other favorite reads were rereads. And that's another challenge for me as well. Like Leona, spread out, find new books, find new favorites, find new authors, and whatnot. And then for the seasons read this month, I will sometimes go based off the book cover. And if I can remember the book well enough, I'll go off the seasons that were mentioned in that book. but mostly I've been doing it off of the cover. Like if it's a wintry color book cover, I'll do a book cover for that, and I'll do that for the rest of the seasons. And I thought that was just a nice little thing to do, a nice little extra part to include. But yeah. Now this is just me going through all the extra book covers I have for the month and picking out ones that just catch my eye. Now there's no rhyme or reason. I will do like this little journal thing where I'll create an arrow and then write what I liked about the book cover, and it's just something like a journaling piece of, you know, like a junk journal, just writing stuff in there and just making it fun. Now I have learned my lesson because of how I put the book covers in here for May. I learned my lesson in June by putting them down one by one and writing my explanation on there so that I don't end up losing space. Now I do want to get to a point where I figure out like maybe I'll make this a grid page instead of a blank page, because again the white space is bothering me, but there's not much I can put on here that will not interfere with the book covers, my favorite book covers of the month. So I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. It's the foundation. I can only go up from here, and I am okay with just only going up from there. And so with that, folks, that is the end of my May spreads. And I think before I started my reading log, I was just putting sticky notes in for June, and I hated that because it just didn't have a good look to it. But yeah, I just had to do what I had to do. And I noticed that with the reading log, it just helps me work more efficiently, and I don't have to guesswork a lot or come back to the computer a lot. And luckily, where my filming desk is, all you gotta do is just turn around. So that works. But if you're ever curious as to know what kind of merch I have or what kind of products I have, you can definitely head over to craftingbythepound.com. I have a lot of things that I have posted there. And then, for June, you can see that the sun was out more for June. But, so for June, it was, I think June I did read more like new to me books than I had previously done. But it's just not a lot, you know? It's not a lot. I try to read a lot of Arthur's catalogs, but yeah, it still wasn't where I wanted to be at. Right? Oh, that little mark that's on June reads. Yeah, I think when I was writing on something, it messed the paper, but I'm like, oh, I don't mind. And then I tried to use my little bitty scissors, and it didn't work. Because it was like it was cutting everything crooked. Because I was like, I'll have to bend the tip of my scissors back because it's curved. So I had to pull out my big scissors, which I think those are better. But yeah, but this is me just trying to put my book cover border around this first page. And so the new thing that I decided to do for June was, because before if I picked a color, I would never do the darker colors of that color scheme. And this month I decided to use all the colors, and I decided just to do something different with the way I use the darker colors. And then I also decided to be smarter with, if whatever page I'm using, to just do the strips and then just cut the back of that strip and not have to worry about so much of the doing all of them, because I don't know, just to be more in the moment, take my time, not try to rush through the process. I love when authors create like a cohesive book series, book cover situation. It just, I don't know. I didn't realize how many red covers I read for the month of June. Maybe I was just in a red book cover mood. So the one thing I also decided to change for the month of June was, I was always using my ballpoint pen. And while I enjoy my ballpoint pen, I felt like it wasn't thick enough. I love bold lines and I love writing with bold lines. So I decided to pull out my Sharpie. And I guess also to see the integrity of the pages. Now, I do use 20-pound paper to print out my printables, because I thought I didn't need anything thicker than it. So I pulled out the Sharpie just to see if it would bleed through. And it bled through a little bit. So I may just need to have a paper between each page as I'm writing so that it doesn't transfer to the next page. But as I saw it from between the pages, it would be just like little dots. And the dots didn't bother me as much, but I think going forward, I'll just pull out an extra sheet of paper and just go that route to go in between pages, just to keep it fresh, keep it together, keep it somewhat cohesive. And then, yeah, so for the darker color, I decided to just do outlines. But then also to pull from May, I decided to do the shadow or the shading on these book covers as well, or these book cover boxes as well, just to give a little oomph, a little pizzazz to it. So yeah. And because my hand does sweat, especially if I'm filming, for some reason when I film, I get hot. My hands were sweating, so I used the paper to keep, because like the Tombow Fudenosuke pens are water based, so they will spread or smudge when touched with moisture. So I'm using the paper with my reading log. That's like a rough draft reading log. That's not what it looks like today, but to use the page of my reading log, I say waterlog, my reading log, to kind of keep the moisture at bay. And there you go with June. Thank y'all so much if y'all made it to this point. And if you did enjoy this video, and if you enjoy the content that I post here on this channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be sure to talk to y'all in another video. Bye.